Coming up on Mountain News this morning, resources for people with autism here in Eastern Kentucky struggle to keep up as more people are diagnosed with it. And first responders here in our region make a generous donation to help schools across Pike County make sure their students don't go without supplies.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Alrighty, good morning to you. It is 5:33 on the dot. I'm Dakota Makris. It's Friday. Thank you so much for waking up with us. And let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. And Brandon, I've been chit-chatting all morning, and it's only 5:33.
We're just awake this morning, I think, because we know it's Friday.
Yeah.
And, you know, the weekend is near. But we got a busy weekend. Got some Mountain Classic going on, WYMT Food City Mountain Classic going on. And, of course, first LEGO League tomorrow morning and Whitesburg Christmas Parade.
Oh, speaking of the Christmas parade, Brandon, didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I have strict orders from Whitesburg. They told me yesterday that you better not make it rain.
Listen, I am doing my absolute best.
So.
I've called in every favor that I have left. I mean, the year, when you get deeper into the year, you kind of start running out of favors, but I've called in every single one I had left for tonight. All right, let's get into this forecast this morning. We're not seeing a whole lot in the way of moisture. There's some drizzle out there, but we are seeing a lot in the way of fog, especially in the higher elevations. Buffalo Mountain, you can see there fogged in the higher elevations. That's where some of these sensors are at the airports. So again, just be extra careful out there. This one's a bit cool. And some of those spots out there, we're seeing a lot of 40s, couple of 50s, Manchester, Williamsburg, Middlesboro, Monticello, and of course the warm spot is Harlan at 54. Cold spot on the other end of the region, Moorhead and Ashland, both at 45. That's a few degrees colder in most locations than it was this time yesterday, with the exception of one. It is 1 degree warmer in Middlesboro than it was this time yesterday morning. Temperatures head up toward the 60-degree mark this afternoon, so a mild day. Average high this time of the year is 49. We're going to carry those average temperatures all the way into next week. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Well, the Williamsburg Police Department is investigating an assault case. Police say they responded to Mount Morgan Apartments on Tuesday for a domestic violence call. When they arrived, officers arrested 23-year-old Dylan Jarvis after they say he assaulted a woman with a knife. Police say the woman had minor injuries. 2 juveniles were inside the apartment at the time. Well, Jarvis is facing several charges, including assault and alcohol intoxication. And we are following reports of a man known as the Bogus Beggar being seen here in Eastern Kentucky. Pikeville police told us they received complaints about the man on Wednesday, and they were able to talk with him and believe he is the Bogus Beggar. However, officers said they think he is out of Pikeville right now. The Bogus Beggar, whose name is Gary Thompson, has a long history in Kentucky. Our sister station, Wave News in Louisville, has followed Thompson's story for several years. You can see its reporting on WYMT.com. Well, many police departments are saying retail thefts are on the climb. Walmart's CEO says the company will have to start making prices higher or maybe even close stores if the recent string of thefts continue. Other big stores like Target and Kroger are saying the same thing as well. A lieutenant with the Lexington Police Department says police tend to see more thefts in retail stores during the holiday season.
We always have a slight uptick in thefts, whether that be LFAs breaking into cars or shoplifting, people going into businesses and stealing things. So it is typical that the holiday season people do go in and commit more thefts.
Well, if you see anything suspicious during the busy shopping season, you should report it to your local authorities. A new analysis is in from the Kentucky Center for Economic Policy. It shows that average teacher pay is continually dropping in the Commonwealth. Just the past year, it fell by more than 5% when adjusting for inflation. Jeremy Toms talked with the educators about how hard it is becoming to make ends meet for those in the field.
Dr. Jenny Ward is a veteran of the education industry. She has taught for nearly 2 decades, has her doctorate, and yet she faces a harsh reality this holiday season.
I'm a single mom. Looking at all my bills, it's very likely I will be picking up a second job after Christmas.
Fayette County Schools was among districts in Kentucky which got a raise approved this year.
But with inflation, the over amount of take-all pay and what we can actually spend our dollars on becomes less and less every year, no matter how many we're making.
The latest inflation-adjusted analysis shows that teachers took a $3,152 pay cut this year on average. Ward says that leads directly into struggles with teacher recruitment and retention. Tony Cons-Tatman with the Kentucky Department of Education says the Commonwealth's turnover rate is outpacing the national average, and only 83% of job postings are being filled. It affects more than just teachers themselves.
Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, nurses. I think that staff in our schools have been really stretched to the point of breaking.
Tatman says they need to fix the problem by easing both the financial and mental burdens these valued workers have to bear.
Business leaders, our General Assembly, we should all be working together as partners to figure out not just to solve this salary issue, but to solve the overall job satisfaction feeling that our teachers have.
In Lexington, Jeremy Times.
Well, the center also found there are fewer teachers now than in 2008. That's in spite of a 14% increase in school-age children, making the workload heavier for those who are still teaching. More Kentuckians are getting diagnosed with autism, and advocates say resources are not keeping up. Nationally, the diagnosis is 3 times more common than it was 20 years ago. Eastern Kentucky parents of children with autism say often they still feel alone.
I found myself messaging complete strangers, asking like, what do I do? What resources are out there? And quickly I found there was next to none.
Grassroots support groups are trying to bridge the great health divide for kids with autism. We'll have more on that in our 6:30 half hour. First responders in Pikeville, well, they give back to their community by giving family resource centers and local elementary, middle, and high schools. Our Jordan Mullins has more from Pikeville Police Department and one Pike County Schools on how this donation means to them.
In past years, the Pikeville Police and Fire Department and their first responder community outreach program gathered school supplies for family resource and youth service centers throughout Pike County. But due to the pandemic, Pikeville PD and FD decided to change the way they were giving to these centers.
The best way to do it would be in the form of a gift card, and they can use it for their resource people, know exactly who and what they need it for. So it's just a lot easier, and the schools can use it for exactly what they need for that X amount of children.
On Wednesday, every school in the Pike County School District, as well as the Pikeville Independent School District, received $500 for its resource center, totaling $10,500 worth of supplies.
Paper, pencils, folders, binders, crayons, anything that they need, poster paper. We try to make sure it's all here.
And more than just supplies. Some resource centers, such as this one at Dorton Elementary School, also have shoes, clothes, and hygiene products if a student is in need.
There are children out there that do not have their basic needs met. And we do everything that we can. There are some things that we can't do. But we do everything that we possibly can to help them.
First responders giving back to their community.
If you're going to be a fireman, or you're going to be a police officer, you're going to be anything to do with the community, your first objective is to help the community.
By protecting and serving. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Dorton Elementary School Family Resource Coordinator Alyssa Hurley also says making sure children have what they need would not be possible without donations such as these. Well, Faith Assembly of God Church in London once again created a live nativity scene where locals can drive through and experience a portrayal of where Jesus was born. Church members and staff have been hard at work since Black Friday to put together what looks like an old town behind the church building. Pastor Rodney Goodlett says they are hoping to bring a little light to locals this holiday season.
This is like Emmanuel, God with us. This is the message of hope. This is the greatest gift that we have. And so we do it well, and we love for everybody to come out and join us and see it. And that way they can have a little bit of hope during Christmas as well.
Well, the live nativity scene will once again be open tonight at 6:30 and on Saturday. Well, come rain or shine, the city of Whitesburg will host its Miracle on Main Street today. Well, it kicks off with the Mistletoe Market. Local vendors will line Main Street or set up inside of the businesses downtown. The market is from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. The city is encouraging people to shop locally this year.
There's a renewed hope People are rebuilding, and it's a wonderful time to be part of the city of Whitesburg.
The city's Christmas parade kicks off this evening at 6. It will also be downtown. King Kitchen will have a free community dinner after the parade. Well, just ahead this morning, a famous singer opens up about a diagnosis that's been making it hard for her to perform. We'll have the details in just a few minutes.
And those rain chances are trying to wind down. Let your county folks, I know I'm trying to take care of you today, but we still have a little while to go before they exit the region. For now, I'll tell you about our next potential system in about 3 minutes.